Live in Studio B, this is your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. Happy Friday, everyone. I'm Spencer Linton alongside Jerem Jordan, and joining us now is the all-time leading scorer in BYU basketball history. He wasn't denied much like Jackson Robinson denied Baylor. He is Tyler Haws. T. Haws, welcome back to BYUSN. Happy Friday, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
BYU knocks off Baylor. That got some momentum, but now the challenge is clearly, how do you kind of bottle some of that energy and take it on the road to Kansas State? So if you are the mental strength coach and the prep coach for BYU, what are you saying to these guys, knowing what happened at Oklahoma State, as they go back out on the road for 2 games in Kansas?
Man, well, I think you're right. You've got to take the momentum of this Baylor game and ride it as long as you can. I think BYU found something in that Baylor game that they've been missing from the three-point line, right? I mean, their goal has been to shoot 35 threes, and they were under that the last 4 or 5 games, only shooting about 25 threes and not even getting to that double-digit three-point mark, which has been so key for them, I feel like, this season. And they were able to, I mean, they make 14 threes, 20 assists. I mean, the ball was just moving. It seemed like they were getting to the spots on the floor that they wanted. And so I hope to see that the remaining 5 games in conference play. But really, yeah, it does not get any easier. These road games in the Big 12 are so tough, and Kansas State's a team that, I mean, plays so well at home. Tyler Perry, Carter, Ames, like, their guard line is just so tough. They make shots at home. And so, but, you know, that Kansas State game at home, BYU did a great job defensively. And I think, you know, it starts on the defensive end being locked in, and then, you know, that bleeds into their offensive game, I think, and helps them, you know, get into the flow and get into the rhythm.
66 points allowed against Kansas State in the first matchup, only 71 against Baylor. Yeah, you got to play some good defense. Our question of the day is this. We want to get your response here. Which of the following statements about BYU men's basketball is most true right now? BYU will win at Kansas State tomorrow. BYU will finish the regular season with the winning record in the Big 12. They'll win at least 1 game in the Big 12 tournament. Or BYU will be a 5 seed or higher in the dance.
Well, all those are really good scenarios. I'm going to take BYU being a 5 seed.
Wow.
In the Big Dance.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
That's my least true right now.
I think that's the most true for me. What they did in that Baylor game was so impressive to me. There were a lot of question marks coming out of Oklahoma State, but I just thought they responded so well. And this is the time of year that you want to be peaking and playing your best basketball. And BYU did that in the Baylor game against the number 11 team in the country. And listen, Baylor played a great game, I thought. Shot the ball well. I mean, there were stretches in that game where they were making shots. They got off to a really strong start, and BYU just took the punches and punched back. And I mean, I feel like they're playing their best basketball. And so, you know, would it help BYU if they won at Kansas State? For sure. If you can get this first road win, that will kind of ease the pressure going into those last 4 games. But, you know, I think BYU is going to find a way to win one of these road games, as hard as that is. And if they can take care of business at home, I don't see why they couldn't be a 5 seed.
Tyler, let's talk about the ramifications of what a win tomorrow in Manhattan, Kansas would actually mean for BYU. Sure, it helps the cause for BYU to be a higher seed in the NCAA tournament, but do you feel like for BYU to have a winning record in the Big 12, they have to win at Kansas State tomorrow?
You know, the short answer is yes. Like, it would definitely help them. It would ease the pressure going into those last 4. I mean, to win at Kansas, win at Iowa State, those are just really, really tough venues to play, and Kansas State too. But, you know, I think if they can find a way to win tomorrow, that will help them, and then you take care of business at home. But it's not the end all, right? If they don't win tomorrow, I think BYU has shown that they can play teams tough on the road. Like a lot of their road games, I feel like they just couldn't find a way to make shots go in the second half. We've talked a lot about their second half play. You watch BYU, they play super unselfish. They play together and they take and make 3-point shots. Like they take really good shots. And I think in those road games, they just miss those really, really good opportunities. And, I think in one of these last road games, I think they could have a moment where they see those shots go down and knock one of these teams off.
That's the hope, because there's only one road game that BYU's played where we were like, they were just kind of out of it. It was Oklahoma. That was it. Every other game was like, hey, BYU's in this and didn't make enough, as you mentioned at the end. Okay, Spencer Johnson and Izzy, they just had their baby boy yesterday. Congrats to the Johnson family, as we mentioned earlier. If Spencer Johnson doesn't play at Kansas State, which we don't know quite yet if he is or is not, we'd understand if he doesn't. How does BYU adjust?
Yeah, it's a good question. No, congrats to Spencer and Izzy. It's an awesome, fun time of life. Crazy that it happens at this moment in the season. But yes, I mean, Spence is such a steadying force on this team and provides such a calmness out there. And thinking back to this Kansas State game, I mean, how big was Spencer Johnson down the stretch?
Yeah.
That mitigating the press and the pressure that Kansas State put on him. He got that layup right at the end. I mean, that veteran leadership and calmness going down the stretch will definitely be missed. But I think, this BYU roster is deep, especially at the guard line, and it's next man up mentality. I think, Richie Saunders has been playing incredibly well. He could fill in that role. I think Trevin Nell, I mean, he had a great game last game, knocked down some really big shots, needed shots for BYU. Jackson Robinson has been playing well. I think the guards just have to find a way to step up and be ready to go. And if he plays, great, but if he doesn't, we got to keep moving and got to keep find a way to figure out how to play without him.
Tyler Haws is with us on BYU Sports Nation. He has scored more points as a BYU basketball player than anybody in the history of the game at BYU. Tyler, as you look at this BYU team moving from, again, back-to-back years where they finished 5th place in the West Coast Conference to where they are now, I know we've all kind of pointed to, it's growth, it's chemistry, there's maturity. Those are kind of general statements. Like, what do you feel like is the reason that BYU has really taken that next step? Can you pinpoint one or two things there that we can say, this is why BYU is so much better than they were a year ago?
Well, I mean, I think a couple of things. I think a big piece of this whole puzzle has been Ollie Khalifa.
Yep.
I was talking to Tej last night. TJ and I were talking about it, and it's like, there were a lot of question marks around Khalifa when he first got here, and the coaches were so high on him. And I didn't know how he would fit. I knew BYU wanted to play faster and shoot more threes, and I just didn't see the vision that these coaches had. So you got to give credit to these coaches for going out and finding him and knowing how he could fit in this offense. But I feel like he makes such a difference on the offensive end for these shooters. Spencer Johnson, Trevin Nell, Jackson Robinson, Richie, all these guys that are great perimeter shooters. He just takes the pressure off them because he pulls the big out from underneath the basket, but you can't go under any screens. Like, you've got to trail these guys, and Khalifa is such a good passer that, if you trail off these handoff situations, he's just going to dice you up. But then if you go under, these guys just step back and shoot threes. And so I feel like it's kind of pick your poison. And BYU is such a tough team to scout in that regard, because whatever you do is wrong. and BYU's out there just kind of, taking what the defense gives them. And I think Ali Khalifa is a huge part of that in their success. But that's one piece. But I also think, player development, you got to give these coaches a lot of credit. I mean, look no further than Noah Waterman. I mean, the season that he's had compared to last year, the enormous step forward that he has taken has been really, really fun to watch. But I mean, everybody across the board has taken really big steps. There were question marks from everyone around where this team would be this year. And it's been really cool to see each individual player take a step forward, but also the group just come together, and they play such a fun, unselfish style of basketball that is so fun to watch. And so this team is playing well. They're playing together, and it's exciting.
The analysis is pure, just like his jump shot. Tyler Haws on BYU Sports Nation. Well said, Ty. Great to have you on the program, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Go Cougs.
Happy Friday.
See you, Ty.
Let's go.